Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining me for my review of AMAIM Warrior at the Borderline, Episode 20, New Japan Cooperation Organization. So we pick up with the big reveal of the last episode, and we see the Yata-Gurusu leader meeting with representatives from Oceania, Asia, and Eurasia. They're prepared to create a unified front against the US, and in return they get a part of Japan liberated. They do some back and forth discussions, and then Yata-Gurusu decides to go forward with the organization. The signing ceremony is made public and announced to the world. All the various characters from the different groups meet in person for the first time. We run into a lot of familiar faces that Yata has clashed with. I'm a little disappointed they weren't drinking tea, but it looks like Brad is going to be doubling down on being super evil. He winds up hiring some hired gun sniper to do something, and then forces his report Sophia with the colored hair to resign. She says that he's been different since they acquired Ghost, maybe some sort of personality merge. But anyway, so the Americans look like they're going to be trying to eliminate the new united group, and the episode ends with them setting up a meeting with Alexei and Amu, and I'm guessing they're going to try to kill him to, break up the organization. Anyway, I really enjoyed this episode. No fighting, but it really moved the plot forward. Initially, I was kind of afraid they were going to have too much of a tied in a happy bow ending with Yata gaining independence and everyone else just leaving. But then they explained the exact details of the agreement and sort of what Japan would get. I really liked how they seemed to somewhat realistically deal with the ramifications of the agreement and how different groups, both within Japan and the other blocks, would sort of react. And they kind of touched on some of the economic pain points as well. I think it's this kind of stuff, the political stuff, that really made the original premise of the show interesting. And this episode was so unlike the rest of the episodes. It's like they went super deep on this concept in the first episode with the more realistic presentation, forgot what the show was about, then made a bad version of Gundam for 18 episodes, and then they came back to this episode. They also showed Brad looking kind of happy when they made the cooperation agreement, so I was initially really concerned that they were going to make him oh, he was actually a good guy all this time, and he really wanted to bring everyone together. And since I always relate the show to Gundam Wing, that would basically be Zack, so it would kind of work out. But now it seems like he's going to double down on being a villain, though they didn't explicitly say what he was doing, so they could be going for another swerve. I personally didn't find the resolution particularly interesting, where we have a bunch of the blocks kind of teaming up with Yata-Gurusu versus kind of a five-way dancer, Yata against the world. I feel like this is a pretty typical problem with media, where they set up this very complex story with a bunch of characters and don't really have an easy way out, and they don't have a way to resolve it, and then they just sort of create a simple way out. Usually it's by giving one side a giant laser, so this was a little bit more nuanced than that, but not that much more, but I guess they just want to wrap this show up. However, I do think that the execution was handled really well, and I hope that this show can end on a strong note. I think this may have been the best episode of the series. I'd probably give it 8.59 out of 10. Anyway, thanks so much for checking out this video. If you liked it, I'd appreciate a like or subscribe, and if you didn't, tell me about it in the comments. I do anime reviews on Monday and figure reviews on Wednesdays and Fridays. Thanks so much, and keep collecting.